guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review of Paperweight by Meg Haston. Now I was sent this book in exchange for a honest review from Hotkey Books, so thank you very much Hotkey Books for sending this to me. In return I'm going to give you my honest thoughts and feelings about Paperweight. Spoiler alert, I really enjoyed this book. This book follows a 17-year-old girl named Stevie who is convinced in 27 days that she will die. Her mother left when she was younger, and her brother recently, about a year ago, he passed away. Stevie is convinced that she killed him, and so on the anniversary of her brother's death, she plans to die. She plans basically to fade away to nothing. Stevie has an eating disorder, a very bad one at that, and so when this novel starts, she's in a treatment camp for that. However, she plans not to eat anything, and so hopefully by her brother's death anniversary, she plans to pass away, because at that point she should be so malnourished that that's what she's been working to, to die. If she can't do it that way, she'll do it some other way. So Stevie has been sent to this treatment center to obviously try and get better by her father, and she hates it. It's a nightmare basically come true for Stevie. She's also really struggling with her friendship with a girl named Eden, who is somehow involved in her brother's death, and who Stevie had really, I guess, strong feelings for Eden, and now everything's kind of been revealed, and Eden might not have been the best for Stevie after all. This book is about Stevie finding herself and maybe figuring out that life isn't all that it seems. It's about family and friendship and denial and hope and anger all mixed in one. Now, one of the biggest elements of this book is the eating disorder that Stevie has. I knew this book had an eating disorder, and I guess I'm gonna have to say it now because I think it's relevant, and I think that you need to know this before you go into this book. If you have had an eating disorder in the past, or you struggle with this one, I would be wary going into this book. I know that a couple of people had this concern as well, and I don't want to get into it, but I struggled with an eating disorder, and this book definitely brought back some bad thoughts and feelings to me, and it definitely could trigger unhealthy behavior because Stevie's mind is so unhealthy, and the way she describes people is so horrible, but it was the way that I saw the world, and it definitely started bringing back those feelings, and I definitely had to take myself out of the book in some aspects and be like, Beck, this isn't the healthy way of thinking. You do not want to go back to this place. This is Stevie, she's unwell, this isn't the right way you should be thinking. But if you are, I guess, easily influenced, or you have had an eating disorder before, or you struggle with one, I guess just be wary going into this book. I'm just putting that as a warning now because I don't want any unhealthy feelings to be triggered from this book. Sorry for getting real there for a second, but I just felt it was really important to say. I really enjoyed this book. Stevie obviously thinks really unhealthy, and I could relate to her, and at some points I couldn't relate to her. I could relate to her, my past self could, but my present self was like, Stevie, you just want to slap them and then just hug them and tell them that it's all gonna be alright, which is probably what I wanted to do to my younger self too. There's so much character development in this book, and so much character thought into these characters. Not just Stevie, but the other girls at this treatment camp too. Each one is well thought out and developed, and they're all just not side characters. I think each one you get to know a little about that, and like why eating disorders happen to them. Some were abused, some like Stevie lost people, and others felt like they had no reason to be feeling this way, but they were. This book was heartbreaking, and it was tough to read at points. It dealt with some really messy topics, and I think for the most part it handled it really well. As I said though about the eating disorder and the feelings that can be triggered, just be wary about that. But it handled it really well. It was nothing against this book. I just think because of the thoughts that Stevie has and how they're so present and out there and in your face, I think that can definitely trigger stuff for you. But it definitely handled it really well. Stevie was definitely a real character in her thoughts and feelings and emotions. She definitely wasn't perfect, obviously, and I think the way that she dealt with things was obviously she made mistakes, but she also made some really good ones too. I really enjoyed this book. From someone who has, I guess, dealt with an eating disorder to just everything about this book, I really enjoyed it. I felt like it dealt with all the topics correctly. It was really interesting. There were a couple of twists and turns in here that I did not see coming. It was a really heartbreaking and emotional and sad, but also uplifting and hopeful book all at once. And I was like liking this book until about halfway when I just started loving it, and I just had to read all the rest just there, right then and there, in one sitting, and I did, and I'm so glad I did because this book definitely took me on a roller coaster of emotions emotions, and I love just everything about this book, really. And so I am rating this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I am also going to mention that the author Meg herself had an eating disorder in the past, and when she wrote this book, she herself was in a treatment centre for that, and she is now a mental health counsellor, which I found really interesting. And so you can definitely tell that this book is very honest in what it's saying. You know, you can tell that the treatment centre or the eating disorder are coming from honest places. You know, they're not made up or over exaggerated or anything. You can tell that they're real, and I can also relate and confirm that it did it really well. But overall, I did really enjoy this book, as I said, and I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. So I would love to know in the comments below if you have read this book and what you thought of it, and like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more book related videos to me, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!